Hanging out with Clement
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
And today we are hanging out with music executive and broadcaster Randall Abrahams. He's many other things. And we're going to get to know him better between now and 11 o'clock. If you want to join the conversation, you're welcome to call us on 011-883-0702. You can send WhatsApps as well on 072-702-1702. Randall, welcome to the show. How are you?
Very well. Yourself?
Yeah, I've been trying to get you here for a while now.
It's taken us a while, but finally.
Finally, you're here. Welcome back home. How does it feel to be back at Prime Media House? I was telling the listeners earlier that at some point you were our boss because you were the Prime Media Broadcasting CEO.
Yeah.
Yeah, you haven't been to this building, have you?
I have been to this building, yes.
You have been here.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Always happy to be in, I don't know if you want to call it my natural habitat, but certainly a habitat that I've been part of since the 90s.
Yeah.
Giving away my age, I guess.
Let's go back there in the 90s. What do you think was a source of influence and inspiration for you when you were growing up that has led you to where you are today?
That's a great question. So when I was really, really young, and I mean kind of 4 years old, 3 or 4, I started listening to the radio.
At 4?
Yeah.
Did you even know what that thing is called?
I knew what a turntable was. I knew what records were.
Yeah.
But I kind of, by 5 or 6, I was already, in my brain, listing what I wanted to listen to. I'm sure you know the Springbok radio was around. And that was kind of a multi-format station. So do everything from music to news to kiddies programs. And I would certainly know what was on and at what time it was on. So, and certainly I knew when the chart was on. So I knew when the big hits of the day would be played. And I think you had to get that into your brain because it was only on for such a short time, right? In the modern day, you can listen to anything from anywhere at any time.
Yeah.
So you had to, if you were interested in something, you had to, say to yourself, okay, between 6 and 7 this evening, there's something I want to listen to. I'd better focus and prepare for that.
Mm-hmm. That's fascinating. And was there anybody who was listening to radio at home?
Yes, absolutely. But my dad more from a news actuality point of view, not from a music point.
What about music then? But because I'm trying to trace the influence, like who listened to music at home and introduced you and made you love music, or is it something you developed yourself naturally?
So my mom was a classical pianist.
See.
Not that I had much interest in classical music, but certainly there was a lot of classical music around the house because my mom played all the time, and in fact could, just until she passed on, she could still play, absolutely wonderfully. She never lost that capacity. But then I guess the music thing was just, I guess it was imbued in me.
Yeah.
I just loved popular music from the minute I heard it on the radio. As I say, at a very, very young age, I could remember what the songs were, who they were by, what the tune was, what the words were.
Okay. What about radio then? Like, where does the love for broadcasting come from? I mean, you've helped launch station like YFM. You've been a general manager of commercial radio at the SABC, overseeing some, key radio stations. Mm-hmm. You've been broadcasting CEO here at Prime Media. Where does then the love for radio come in?
Well, I guess, as I say, in the 70s, certainly when I grew up, that was the number one place, We didn't have a whole ton of money to go out and buy records all the time. Though obviously in the 1980s I started collecting. But, I was fascinated by radio. And, the thing about radio is, and especially, I can imagine even in the 80s, you were being transported to another place. Because if someone was broadcasting, I lived in Cape Town. So if someone was broadcasting from Johannesburg, where was Johannesburg? What were these places that they were alluding to? What were these clubs that they were talking about? Because you didn't have the internet.
Yeah.
And you didn't, I certainly didn't know anybody who'd been to any of these clubs. And even if someone had been to a club, they couldn't show you an image, right?
Yeah.
People just didn't take photos all the time.
So it was a real theater of the mind.
Absolutely. So you'd create this mysterious, people with respect don't create dark, horrible places in their mind, right? They create places that are amazing. And that's kind of how I pictured everything. I thought about it.
Yeah. I want to play some of your favorite music. And I'm sure this was very difficult for you to give us just 4 songs that are that are for someone like you who appreciates music. And every time I would listen to you and the segment you have with John Pellman, and you talk about some music, I always used to think, oh my God, I thought I loved and appreciated a new music. And I really think I don't, because you are just on another level. So let's start with Elvis Presley, because we're going to start with that song, Suspicious Minds. Why is it special to you?
So, first and foremost, I'm a massive Elvis fan. I've been to Graceland on a number of occasions. Elvis was the thing that really, turned me on to popular music. That I used to get books from the library, and I used to read about him. And, when I was 10 or 11, I was reading biographies, Elvis biographies. And I knew the music intimately. And I always think that, in terms of his musicianship and his ability to, well, firstly his vocal ability, but his performing ability. I've just been, as I say, I've always just been a massive fan. And Suspicious Minds is just such a great song. It was written by Mark James. And again, when we're talking about a singer, it's almost as though people say, you've got great musicians and everything, but if you've got a great song, what's the value of a singer? I say to people, go and listen to the Mark James original. It's the same band that's playing with Elvis. And the arrangement is also very, very similar. Except for that opening riff by Reggie Young. But the singer is in a whole different universe, And for me, I think that is significant, that, vocalists are able to imbue a song with meaning that sometimes a writer hasn't originally intended. So there's something to say. It's not just about hitting the notes or being in tune. There's a lot more to singing.
Okay, here's Suspicious Minds by Elvis Presley.
Morning, Clement and to Randall. During the Idols, Randall, you were scaring kids, man. Hey? Seriousness. You hardly smiled. But anyway, that's the way it was. When coming to music, I was born 1964. You've just revealed your age. And I should say to you, hello, Ntanga. Hello, mate. Nice one, eh?
You've just revealed your age. Do you get that a lot when people reflect on your time on Idols? Because they always say, and I can tell you guys, he's been smiling throughout the conversation. So he does smile, and he can smile. Do you get that a lot where people got surprised by your demeanor on Idols?
To a degree. I think.
To a degree? Come on.
When people come up to me, originally when the show was on, obviously they'd be a bit, be a degree of trepidation. But I think that television is so amazing because it's this tiny screen in your house and you think you know people.
Yeah.
That's
true.
But in the case of Idols, I mean, for me, getting into the record business was a very serious thing, and I also realized what it takes in order to make it. Right? It's not only about being a good singer or a good performer; it also takes determination and hard work and having to dig deep. And I think that was the type of point of view that I tried to bring to Idols. That it was more than a singing competition. Someone would go on and hopefully have a career. And that's really hard work. It's not easy.
I mean, I remember every time I watched Idols, I always looked to you, because that's really going to tell me if what the artist's progression is going to look like during the competition. Because I always think, I wonder what Randall is going to say. I wonder what Randall is going to say. When you joined, did they know that that's the kind of honest and brutal reaction you're always going to give? Did they know that? Did they expect that from you? Was that discussed at all?
It was never discussed. I mean, my audition lasted all of maybe 3 minutes. And I didn't, they said someone's going to come in and sing and you must comment and then they'll film it.
What did you say to that poor person?
The person
Were you hard?
The person wasn't very good.
Oh my goodness. So, and they've never had issues throughout Idols that you're coming across too hard on these
No, not at all.
contestants. Yeah.
Never.
Okay, that's really interesting.
And as I say, I mean, you know, if you think about your career, for example, right? There's no, you know, there's certainly no, you're not going to know what public taste is going to be like next year. So with respect, any of us who are in the public eye, who put ourselves into that domain, you can't legislate for public taste. And for whatever reason, the public may feel they don't like you anymore. And that, you know, they're not entertained by you for whatever reason, way beyond your control. So therefore, to put yourself in that position is very, very difficult. And I think people who aren't in the industry don't appreciate that. And especially now in the age of social media, it's even more, you know, there's even more of a laser focus on what goes out there. So I think that, you know, you've got to have a very kind of strong personality and belief in order to maintain it. Because again, it's very different from having, with respect, a 9-to-5 job.
No, that's true. So, and you've never at any point, I mean, how long were you in Idols for?
18 seasons, I think.
What?
Yeah.
That's
2001.
That is an incredibly long time. You've never felt under pressure to tone it down a little bit? Not once?
No, not at all.
What did you always look out for? Because there's times when someone would be amazing vocally, but you still go, it's not working. Either the choice of song, you spoke about determination earlier. What were the key things you always looked out for when you were rating the performers?
So, because of Idols being, you know, they're choosing the songs for you to a large extent. So you're going to have to be, you know, you're going to have a diverse appreciation of music and be able to sing different styles in the context of the competition, right? I'm not saying once you win or do well and then move on to your own career. The second thing is originality. I think there were lots of singers, you know, every year on Idols there'd be some song that was big.
Yes.
Whitney, Mariah, you know, there'd be some song that was big and then everybody would sing it, right?
Yeah.
So you're looking for someone who, not only in terms of their vocal skill is original, but someone who has the brains to think, yes, that's the biggest song right now, but everybody's going to sing it. So let me, number one, do something different, but let me do something that really works for me. Rather than, I'd like to be Whitney Houston, who am I?
Yeah.
And how best can I, you know, expose myself?
Through the song. But here's what confuses me then. Because there's times when there's a singer who chooses a song and I could see your faces as judges go, whoa. Like if someone chooses Whitney's song or Beyonce's song, which requires like serious high notes, and I could see your faces go, are you sure?
Yeah.
But then again, there are some people who would choose like these big artists and they change the song to make it their own and be original. And sometimes the judges would say, there are certain songs you don't really need to change too much. You need to be able to know where to draw the line, because otherwise you've completely missed it.
So that is the challenge, right? You know, someone who's a great interpretive singer, there are very, very few of them. You know, and again, if you're going to then do, with respect, Beyonce, are you then going to do a note perfect copy? Because if I'm in the studio with you and we've got an original song, because that's the end, right? That's the ultimate day. That's the final day of Idols. You are recording your own single, right? What are you going to bring to the song if all you've done is do a really good mimicry throughout the period?
I see. And if you have really shown yourself and you've gotten feedback from the judges, that helps also curate your own tone as an artist. All right, let's go to some WhatsApp voice notes coming through on 072 702 1702.
Morning, Clem. I can confirm that Randall is a nice guy. I've never met him, but my grandmother used to clean for him while he stayed in Killarney. That's what she said to me, and she's late. Her name was Christina. I don't know if she remembers. or if the story is true. But that's what she said to me. Not sure, thanks.
Maybe he paid your grandmother to say that.
Hi Clement, good morning. This is Batu from Quebec. Clement, can you please kindly ask Randall Abrahams when he's on studio? Since he's been in various radio stations across all platforms, Prime Media, SABC, and other platforms, independent media. Which are his top 5 on-air radio presenters of all time? Thanks, man. Bati from Clubs.
He's laughing at your question. Do you still listen to radio though?
Absolutely.
A lot?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Like, are you more of a music or talk?
So I kind of switch between everything.
Okay.
You know, I'm always looking for something that's, you know, that if there's a great song on, or if there's a great, you know, interview on,
Yeah.
or piece of commentary, I'm listening all the time.
Okay.
All the time. And I'm certainly not going to answer that question. We'd have to start with Clement.
I cannot answer that question either.
and then we'd have to say Glenn Lewis and Thomas Masingana, number 2 and 3, because they're my friends, right? And then Anele, who was with me outside, is going to say, am I in the top 5?
Yeah. You've just done with me because I've invited you here.
There you go.
So don't you dare be rude.
Hanging out with Clement.
On 702.
Let's walk the talk.
25 minutes before 11 o'clock, we're hanging out with Randall Abrahams this morning on our Hanging Out feature. And let me start with your WhatsApp voice note on 0727021702. And then we'll go to another favorite song of his as we continue our conversation.
Good morning, Clement, and good morning to Mr. Randall Abrams. My question to him, during his time with Idols, I just want to find out, you know, from all the winners during his time there, who were his favorites? Like, they probably like top 2 or top 3 of the best Idol winners for him. And also those that say they were runners up. Who does he think maybe should have won Idols but did not win it? And because I'm looking at some of the runners up, you know, they are doing well, you know, in their music careers. This is Pete from Tembisa. Thanks for the nice show.
Thank you, Pete. They're asking you some tough questions, eh? Now you must tell us your favorite winners and the favorite runner-ups that you thought should have won.
Again, Idols was a fantastic competition. And I think that, you know, again, over the period, we've had, you know, Shakana, Amanda Black, Paxton, you know, so many really, really great performers, you know, all the way back to, you know, Heinz Winkler. So I think that, you know, it's very difficult because as much as you're part of the cast and you know, you're giving kind of tough commentary, you know, it is a bit of a family, right?
Yeah.
And I think that the success that everybody's had, and the one point I want to make about that is that I said during the show often that winning the competition is one thing and going on to a career is another. And I certainly think that in the case of both Shakana and Amanda Black, they didn't win.
Yeah.
But they've gone on to fantastic careers. They utilized it as a platform. And that's really, you know, what the show for me was about.
Yeah.
Good morning to you, Clement. Clement, just a question to Randall. I would just like to know, Randall, was there ever in all your years with the Idols, did you ever have that instance where, from the onset, that you listen to this person, and then your mind said to you with the right guidance and the right training, this person can be the winner, and eventually that person became the winner? Did you ever have that instance? Thank you, Eugene in Boxburg.
Very good question, Eugene. So I'll let you in on a secret. What I used to do is, obviously, I mean, we would sit around and, you know, you've got that deliberation, right, with Theatre Week. And I'd always try to see whether or not the people that were in my picks would end up as the winners.
So you would have picks by when?
You'd have to pick that top 10 or the top 12, right? The judges would deliberate about that.
When you decide who's, okay.
I was pretty good.
Oh,
I had a high hit rate.
Really? Oh, that's so cool. That's so cool. Donovan says, Clement, please ask Randall this very difficult question. How does he rate your singing skills? And Randall must be very honest. Well, I shall not let him respond to that question. Okay, the next song that is your favorite. Where should we go now? Should we do Dusty or should we do Jill Scott?
Tyler, you've got Gil Scott Heron.
Oh, that's Gil. Oh, not Jill. Okay, that's Gil Scott Heron. And
Yeah.
then we've got Dusty Springfield. We've got Lisa.
Lisa and Tyler.
Should we go with Lisa?
Yeah.
Tell me about the song. Why is it?
So, when Tyler kind of blew up,
Yeah.
the one thing looking at her image and her styling and the music was, I said to myself, she could be, she was big, but I thought she would be huge in the Far East. I just said to myself, a collaboration with an artist or a group from the Far East is just going to give her a totally different dimension because it's a very different market, right? She's up for a Grammy again this year, but I looked at it and I thought, come on, this in the Far East would just, blow up. You're going to have to do a collab because they're very dedicated to artists from that part of the world. And then when she did the song with Lisa, I was like, there you go.
And this one works.
Billion downloads.
Yeah. When I'm With You is the name of the song. Tyler is amazing, hey? So she's up for another Grammy, but she's still, it's like Best African
Yes, that's right.
something.
Yeah. Burna Boy, WizKid. I'm trying to think of the other people in the category.
If we're being honest, though, Randall, we've produced some really big, impactful artists over the last couple of years, but for some reason we still box them within the African category at the Grammys.
Absolutely.
When do they begin to move beyond that?
Well, Tyler made the comment at the VMAs, I think either last year or the year before, that, as I say, they're not kind of African artists, they're worldwide artists, right? And I think that you're absolutely right. I think it should be a fair playing field. I think it should be a fair competition. And there's no reason to put it into kind of a musical ghetto, Burna Boy, fantastic, massive artist. And again, as I say, in terms of the big categories, the, best album, best vocal, best female, artists from all around the world should compete.
Someone was asking about the books you're reading now. What are you reading currently? And are there books that are your favorite of all time?
So I've just recently finished the Silo trilogy. I don't know if you've watched Silo on television. There's been 2 seasons already. So the first book, if I'm not mistaken, was originally called, no, it wasn't called Dust. The last book is Dust. But basically it's about these silos that are created and people live in them. There are no lifts. You have to run up and down the stairs.
I've watched it.
You've watched it.
I've watched it. And
so I read
if you
the trilogy.
escape,
Yeah.
you die.
If you escape, you die.
Yeah,
Yes,
in
exactly.
inverted commas.
Exactly.
Okay.
You go out to clean.
Yes, to clean the and he's clean the screen. I've watched it. I love it because I really think that there's a very powerful, I think it really, there's a powerful message just about the
Absolutely.
movie and about what we are told about this life
Absolutely.
and what exists.
What we
outside.
know and what we don't.
And what we know and what we don't.
Yeah.
There's a reason we know what we know. There's a
Absolutely.
reason
We don't know.
what we don't know.
Absolutely.
And when I watched that, I was like, oh my goodness. Yeah, that's wild. Can I recommend something for you to watch?
Absolutely.
Begonia.
Okay.
Yeah. It's incredible. I think it's on, I'll just remember, but it's a film. It's so good because it also, again, what do you know and what do you not know? And I love this film that just confronts you with these deeper questions about life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go to some more WhatsApps on 072 702 1702.
Peter, Clem, Tato here, hanging out with an incredible radio dude. Yes, he loves music. Yes, he's Mr. Idols, but a lot of people probably don't know that Randall was an incredible radio manager. When YFM started, October 97, he was poached from Good Hope FM to come and manage YFM. ran a very tight ship. I did the drive show, and my salary was $4,500. That's what Randall said. He's like, "That's all I have for you." But when we
drive
got
show?
our figures back, I think it was 6 months later, he doubled all of our salaries. That's the kind of tight ship he ran, but he was also a fair manager. So shout out to Randall for that. What I want to find out from Randall, what is his thought on the state of radio and radio management, and the madness that happens in April, where people are shuffled and fired, often based on a whim and not on KPIs and deliverables. Great show, my dude.
And there are certain stations where in March you just don't know. Like you literally just don't know until that very last day.
Look, it's a very tough business, and a lot of those calls are also very, very tough because as much as you're given, the figures and the audience figures and that sort of thing, and if a personality's figures have been going down for a period, I think they come to the realization that it's time for them to move on. But again, they're very, very difficult decisions because it's like buying a football player. As much as they've performed in another league or at another team, are they going to work inside your system? So those are very, very difficult choices, and they were never easy ones to make. You're affecting people's lives, you're affecting their income. So really, probably the toughest part of managing a radio station.
Were you the one actually telling the presenter that we're not re-signing again? Did you send someone else? How do you even do that?
Well, I guess that's your role.
Do you say I guess this is the end of the road, or I don't know how you, because as you say, that's people's livelihood.
Absolutely. Well, again, having said that, people have made the choice in order to be on an annual contract or on a 24-month contract.
Yeah.
So, and again, they recognize that you've got to make those choices because ultimately, if the station is successful, then everybody wins.
Yeah.
And if the station isn't successful, then the football manager is the one that's going to get blamed.
True. He also asked about the state of radio and your thoughts on that.
I think the state of radio, again, is very exciting because radio stations are up against, they were up against television for a very long time, and now they're up against content creators in the online space.
Yeah.
So certainly from what I'm seeing, radio stations are responding to that and are recognizing that they're going to have to go beyond the kind of narrow domain that they were in before. And I think that for me is quite an exciting space. I think that the content creators, some of them, have really given everybody a run for their money. And I think that, the more competition, the healthier for the broader industry, for the broader content industry.
Okay, Clement, maybe if you can ask Randall, how does it sit with them if someone that they've let go becomes more successful than the people that they've put through after the whole competition?
Hi, Clement. Randall, I've been so fascinated by your radio career, particularly the versatility of it, from behind the mic to working in programming to top executive positions at various media houses. What advice would you have for young broadcasters in the industry who are particularly coming up to make sure that they can have a longevity within the industry, such as yourself? I work in broadcasting, and I think there's so many lessons to learn from the type of career that you've had and the way that you've been able to stay relevant within your various positions, but also keeping your career versatile and changing and always new and interesting.
Great questions.
So let's take the second one. And this is going to sound ridiculous, right? But you have to love it. You have to absolutely, it has to be like the reason that you wake up in the morning. You have to just be like fascinated by everything, right? Like you can't become like this old guy, like, oh, when radio was like this, etc., etc. That's the death knell, You've got to be fascinated by what's happening on YouTube, what's happening with social media, all those sorts of things. And you've got to be, you've got to have an interest in it. You've got to want to listen and, discover. And if you travel internationally, I'm sure when you do, you switch on the radio, right? You don't have to. And I guess that, it's like, with respect, it's like soccer again. I'm going to use that example. There are people who've been in soccer. So Alex Ferguson is still going to watch Manchester United games. I think he's seen one or two.
Yeah.
Arsene Wenger is still at FIFA.
At that age, yeah.
At that age. So I think you've got to have that sort of very deep love affair and do it. And again, this is going to sound ridiculous. Do it for the right reasons.
Yeah. And like you said, it's gonna sound weird, but you have to love it. You really have.
Absolutely.
Like it's. And then the first question: how does it sit with you guys? Does it ever? Do you ever beat yourself up and say? Ugh.
Sometimes you're going to get it wrong, right?
Yeah.
Again, I said it earlier. There's no legislating for public taste. If there were, then Decca would have signed the Beatles, and in fact, the Beatles record label Applecore would have signed Crosby, Stills and Nash. We make mistakes.
Yeah.
Hi, Clement, Tola and Cosmo. Just want to find out from Clement real quick. What does he think of the community radio stations? Why are they going nowhere, and why are they not really regulated? Thank you.
Hi, Clement. I'm driving with my wife now, and normally 702 is my thing. It's a man's thing. Now you've got the celebrity Randall Abrahams, and my wife is just blushing left, right, and center. Makes me feel like when we're watching Idols and all that other stuff that Randall's involved. Now we've even become fans of Randall's one song on John's show. I mean, it's just ridiculous. This man is all over, but big ups to you, Randall. We respect you. Thank you, Marlon and Samantha.
Don't worry, Melon. You won't break your marriage. And
Samantha's not going anywhere.
Yeah, Samantha is yours, and Samantha, you can blush all you want. A question about community radio. What do you think of the state of community radio?
Look, I think again, there's been an explosion, obviously, of community radio stations. But again, the challenge with sustaining a community radio station, even now, again, is the social media, right? That there are so many other outlets that you've got to have a very strong and determined management team in order to make those stations work. But they are really, really significant. Not only they shouldn't only be seen as a way that people can get into broadcasting and then end up on a radio station like 702, but they're really important from a community point of view in terms of the information, the news, what is happening. They're from a media point of view, a very cost-effective way of getting that kind of community interest and support and news and messaging out.
Yeah. Mavaya on the WhatsApp line says, Clement, you are having a real legend there. Randall has a natural presence of a leader, which isn't surprising that he's held all these various positions in the broadcasting industry. Radio Dreams, good morning. That's a message from Mavaya there on the WhatsApp line. And it's on that note that we say goodbye to you. Thank you so much for coming through.
Thank you. This
has been fun.
Hanging out with Clement
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.